Hello, welcome to Olio, my show. My name is Susan Rushton, and I need, as always, before we begin, to explain what Olio means. One definition is that it's short for olla podrida, which is Spanish for rotten bowl, which I just always get such a kick out of. It's a Spanish-Portuguese dish with essentially everything in the world in it. Spinach and chicken and lots of pork, bacon and sausage and pig's feet, carrots and what else? Calf's feet, garlic, onions. As I said, essentially everything in the world in it except candy corn and green tea. That's one definition of Olio. Another definition is that Olio comes between acts of a melodrama. So you might have somebody juggling, you might have somebody singing, you might have somebody doing a skit, and none of it has anything to do with anything else. So in other words, it's apples, oranges, and a monkey wrench. So welcome to my monkey wrench. Today, my guests are joining me to talk about the upcoming Gold Country Book Festival, which is set for 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. on Saturday, May 17th at the Auburn Library, 350 Nevada Street in Auburn. I put 450 Nevada Street in my notes, and it may have come that may have been put on the screen, but it's 350 Nevada Street in Auburn. I beg your pardon, everybody. If you want to learn more about this festival we don't have time to tell you about, please go online at goldcountrybookfestival.com. And so Chery Anderson wants us to tell you that the sponsors are Friends of the Library and Gold Country Writers. Those are the major sponsors, and she is extremely gratified and grateful. So my guest, Chery Anderson, who is in charge of, who's director, in charge of,
I'm chairman,
organizer,
co-chairman of organizing it, and I'm kind of the organizer of the authors. We're going to have 35 local authors, so it's kind of my job to kind of keep track of them and get them there on time.
Yes, okay. Have you ever had authors who weren't there on time wanting to sell their books?
You know, we had an author one year who came and set up and then didn't seem to like it very well, so she folded everything up and went home after about 30 minutes. Oh. So I don't know. I hope we don't have that happen again.
I don't think it happened last year.
No, I don't think so either.
I was one of the authors last year, and I am going to be one of the authors this year. And joining me as a couple of the other authors, couple of the 35 authors that are going to be there, are Jack L. Parker. Do you go by Jack Parker or Jack L?
Jack L.
Okay, Jack L. Parker, and you don't live in Auburn. Where do you live?
Down the hill, Roseville.
Okay, well, welcome.
Thank you.
And have you participated in the Gold Country Book Festival before?
Never.
Okay, how did you hear about it? From Chery.
She contacted me and invited me.
Good, good. And next to Jack L. is Meredith Cherry. Hi, Meredith.
Hi, thanks for having me.
You're welcome. And how did you hear about it? Were you here last year?
I was not. I just published this year, so I'm very new to this, and so this will be my first book festival ever. But I heard about it at the Save the Do It Theater Writers Workshop that we had last month.
Oh, cool.
And signed up.
Great, great. So, Meredith, you've just published your first book, and so if you wouldn't mind holding it up and aiming it at that camera, I see that it is along. You tell me the title.
Along the Kings Road, a guide to touring the California missions by bicycle.
Okay, so the Kings Road is I can't think.
El Camino Real.
El Camino, yes.
El Camino Real is what we always call it in California, but that's what it means, is the King's Road.
Yes, and you You're talking about your experiences going from mission to mission and about the missions.
Right. Talking about how you can do it yourself, to bicycle starting in the north from Sonoma Mission all the way down to San Diego, and where you can stop and eat along the way, good hotels and campgrounds and other things to see besides the missions, as well as a lot of history about the missions.
Yes. How long, how many pages is it?
It's about 450.
Okay. So you have quite a lot of stuff in there.
Mm-hmm.
What gave you the idea?
It was a trip I wanted to do myself, and so I wrote the first draft just for me to use, and then I went through and checked everything out and made it into a published copy.
And you know it works because it worked for you.
I know it works because I did it. Yep, and I took out all the places where I got lost and took a dirt road and ended up in a farmer's field. Yeah.
Maybe it would have been much longer if you'd included all that. But
yeah.
I would have, as a beginning bicyclist, I'd have loved to know when or whether somebody else got lost.
Oh, yeah.
I know that if it's possible.
It's certainly possible. Yeah. And I went into it with pretty good maps, and I still got lost.
Oh,
but
wow.
that's part of why it's good for this book, if you were going to do it yourself, to have good tested maps, because sometimes Google is not good enough.
Wow. Okay. That's discouraging and heartening to know at the same time. They're not perfect. Good. Okay. Are you going to do it again? Do this bike tour again?
I'm not going to do this one again. Right now I'm preparing to do a horseback ride across the country. And so that is requiring a lot of maps, more than this had, because it's sure a lot further than across the state.
Sonoma to San Diego.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you going to use the same horse?
I have a horse, and he's going to come with me the whole way. At least that's the plan.
Okay.
He doesn't know it yet.
Wow. Okay. Did you publish your book, or did one of the big 7 or big 10 or big 5 publish it?
I self-published.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's not easy either.
No, you have to do all your own marketing and everything, but it's available on Amazon, and hopefully it'll be available in gift shops and bookstores and whatnot soon.
Yes, good. Jack L., what have you written?
Well, I write adventure travel novels.
Say that again.
Adventure travel novels.
Adventure travel novels.
Same characters in all my books.
Okay. Would you hold one up?
Yes.
And so this is Bhutanese adventure.
Do you know where Bhutan is?
I'm vaguely aware of where it is.
Okay. Most people don't know.
Yeah.
But they all take place in little out-of-the-way countries or out-of-the-way areas. And I'm working on my 5th in my series now, but my 5th book is not in my series, and that will be out this summer.
And so what is your 5th book?
Well, it's called Valley of Tranquility, okay? And that's all I'm going to tell you.
All right. Why?
Because you have to buy the book.
Oh, well, what a good idea. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. And where can one find these books?
Barnes & Noble.
Good for you.
Online, whatever.
Good for
I have
you.
a traditional publisher.
Good for you. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. Thank you. Chery, why the Gold Country Book Festival?
It was actually Mary George's idea. She's the head librarian at Placer County Library, and she was wanting to spotlight local authors of our area. They just, they're in the library, but you have to know who you're looking for to find a local author. So she came up with the idea of inviting authors to come, set up a table in the garden, so it's an outdoor sale. And this is the 3rd year that we've done it, and it's been very popular. The authors enjoy, writing is such a
insular, lonely.
Yes, you're home alone
Yes,
all the time.
yes.
So to be able to get out and meet the public, the people who are buying your books, who love to read, and at the library, that's who you're going to run into,
Yes.
are people who love to read. They're there. So we have 35. We have all genres of books. We have a gentleman who was in the music business for many years. He actually composed Johnny Carson's theme song, and he's written a book about his being in the music business and in Hollywood and in New York. So that's kind of a fun thing. We have a lady, Kristen Hilton, who was a zookeeper for many years, and she wrote a book called Zoo Goofs, which is very funny. And then we have several serious books. One of our newest authors here in Auburn has written a book about teenage drinking and how to deal with your children if you come across that. So we're very pleased, very happy to have these 35 authors there.
Yeah.
We have other activities going on through the day too.
Why, yes. I see that there's a young writers workshop from 10 to noon in the Beecher room.
We've been getting a lot of applications for this. We're asking young writers from 5th through 8th grade to turn in a sample of their writing. And one of our local authors, Jerry Chase Ferris, is going to read the applications. And then on that Saturday morning, before the whole group, she's going to talk kind of more in general, not specific about each piece of work, but she's going to talk about developing a character, doing research. Even if you're writing a story about the Easter Bunny, you have to know a little bit about rabbits, you know.
And writing.
And writing, yes. How to put dialogue on a page can be daunting to a new writer.
Right.
So we're very excited about this, and it'll be in the Beecher room where they hold 70 people. So we're inviting, even if you haven't turned in a sample of your work, to come and sit in on the workshop and listen to what the Jerry Chase Ferris. We hope to have someone who will talk about self-publishing, publishing online, getting your books formatted to be online. And,
okay. We will get back to that. But I would like to get back to writing in general. Why did you, you are a storyteller, Chery, but why do you write, the two of you?
Why do
you write?
I like to share, really, is what it comes down to in one word. It's just I like to share what I've learned and have enjoyed with other people. So I enjoyed this bike trip very much, and I thought it would be great to get it out there and let other people know about it. And the other stuff that I'm working on right now is also a sharing process.
Yeah. Do you find writing difficult?
Sometimes.
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 Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The thing that always catches me is that the only time I'm really stumped is when I'm trying to move from one paragraph to the next easily, smoothly. Transitions are just awful for me. I wish they were easier.
I have trouble with the first 3 sentences. After that, I'm on a roll and I can keep going.
And start with the 4th one and go back.
Yeah, that doesn't
you know
work
what
for me.
Ernest Hemingway said about that? He says, writing is easy. You sit down at the typewriter with a blank page and you bleed all over it. So the blank page is a nemesis.
Right, yes.
Well, myself being a full-time author, normally I can't wait to get to the writing bit. I write in longhand first.
Oh,
do you?
With an old-fashioned fountain pen, actually.
Wow.
I feel that's, and then I go to I write a chapter, then I go to my computer, which hates me, by the way.
I know.
But, and there's a trick that I always try to when I'm finished for the day, I like to leave off where it's easy to pick up the next day. Something very interesting, and I could go farther, but I don't because I know I can pick it up and start it up the next day.
Plus, you have something to think about as you're falling asleep.
Well, I think about that a lot.
Yeah.
But people think because you're a full-time author, that's all you do. Well, that's not the way it is.
What do you mean, Jack?
Well, when you're being published, like my new book will be out this summer, but I have to do the editing that they suggest, and sometimes I don't agree with what my editors tell me to do, or I suggest. They don't tell me; they suggest. Sometimes
Good for them.
Sometimes very strongly.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of work, a lot of phones, a lot of phone calls, and a lot of book signings that are set up for me, and I have to. There's just a lot of stuff.
Yes.
Other than writing.
Yeah.
That you have to do.
Ken Kesey said that the life of a famous author is just wonderful. You get to meet all these stars, you get to go to dinner with all these people, you get to be on television. And the only problem is that sometimes you have to sit down and write something.
But writing is a wonderful thing to do. And I'm not alone. I have 3 dogs that are 2 on my lap almost all the time.
Yeah. Okay.
But my wife works, so I'm on, but basically, yeah.
Yeah.
But you have to have set hours if you're a full-time author. And it's just it's a job. You know, it's basically a job.
Right.
And you have to stick to it. And authors are notorious for not starting writing when they should. They clean the house or whatever, which I do. I get up at 6 and clean the house first. Yeah, but anyway, they're notorious for doing other things just to get out of writing, you know, sometimes. But it's just, if I didn't write, I'd be crazier than I am.
Okay. Meredith, how did you get started writing?
I guess I got started just by reading a lot. I practically live at the library. So I'm a big fan of free books, and that's what you get at the library.
Yes.
So, and then I just progressed into, I guess I started more with photography before I started writing more. And then I wanted to share that, and so I started sharing my photography as an art form, and not just for my own fun, and branched into writing from there.
Wow. Okay. Have you promoted your book elsewhere?
Well, it was just published last month.
Okay.
So I've not had much time yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had to get my website together, and my book trailer is now available on the website. And now I'm getting ready to go do the footwork.
Yes. Yeah. And Jack, your advice is, the impression I have is that things are the same, whether you are published by a standard publisher or you're publishing yourself. You still have to market yourself.
Oh, you bet.
Yeah. You still have to.
Yeah, even though I have a traditional publisher and I have a publicist, you still have to do your own part, you know. And if you don't, some people think when they get a book published, oh, I'm going to be famous, so I'll just sit back and wait. That's not the way it is.
No. No.
You'll starve to death real quick.
Yes, absolutely. So, Chery, I interrupted you.
Oh, I was just going to say, while we're talking about writing, on May 16th, which is the Friday before the book festival, the Auburn Library Noon program has a lady coming in who is nationally known as a writing workshop speaker. And she's going to be talking for an hour about what every writer needs to know.
About promoting?
No,
about
from getting the first idea for writing a book.
And she's only going to talk an hour, huh?
And she's only going to talk all the way through choosing a cover to then getting it published and doing the marketing.
Wow.
So she's going to cover it quickly.
Quickly, yes, good.
But it's at noon in the Beecher Room at the library on the 16th.
All right. But what else? Apparently also we have on On the 17th at the Gold Country Book Festival, there's a children's booth where youngsters can make craft projects, and a panel of 4 published authors will discuss what it's like to be an author. Who will those be?
These are 4 authors, not so much local, but more Northern California authors who are authors who sell 15,000, 20,000 copies of their books, professional writers, much like Jack, and they will be talking about the discipline it takes to be an author, very much like some of the things you've been talking about here. What the writing process is like, how to get yourself motivated, and what to do when you hit that blank wall and can't go beyond.
Okay.
And so it will be Louise Crawford, Elaine Faber, Scott Evans, and George L. Johnson.
All right.
Some of them mystery writers, some nonfiction, so it should be a good panel.
Okay.
From 1 to 2
All
inside
right.
the library. And
there's also how to use your Kindle, Friends of the Auburn Library Noon program. We've talked about that.
The How to Use Your Kindle ebook is going to be a program with our librarians, and they are going to teach people who are new to ebooks how to check out books, how to buy books, how to use the Kindle or the Nook or the other ebooks, and get familiar with it. And I just happened to see the other day in the paper where Amazon is offering the old Kindles. You can turn them back in and get a new one.
Okay.
So, sounds like get a new Kindle and then come to our program and find out how to use it.
Okay. So, back to talking about writing. What advice do you have for your fellow writers or people who are coming up after you?
I would say have some confidence in your abilities and just go for it. Otherwise, you'll never get that book written.
Yeah.
You'll certainly never get it published.
How did you learn how to write? How did you learn what good writing is?
Again, just reading a lot and then reading critically so that I could see how other people put the words together and put their pages together and made the book sound good and look good.
And looking good is important.
It's very important.
It's
yes.
It's more important than I thought it would be before I started working on it. Jack L.
Parker.
Okay, Jack L. Parker.
Only kidding.
Jack L. Parker. Okay. What advice do you have for writers?
Never take criticism personally. Okay, it's usually for your own good from editors, and stick-to-itiveness is very important. And you got to work hard. You just got to work hard at it.
Yeah.
And it's very difficult. I'm speaking from a traditional publisher's. It's very difficult, but you just...
It's very difficult anyway.
Yes, yes. Yeah. But there are 700,000 books a year being published.
Yes.
And, there's a lot of competition. But you just got to stick to it, you know. I used to write for magazines. I don't anymore. But my first 2 articles were published in big magazines. I thought, oh, this is simple. Well, after that, I got enough rejection slips to wallpaper 10 houses, you know. But I kept at it, and that's what you have to do. I ended up being a senior editor-at-large for a magazine for a while because of that. But anyway, you just have to keep at it.
Yes. There's a friend of mine has a writing friend who will not submit anything because he's afraid of being rejected. Well, honey, you're going to be rejected. That's what writing is all about. And you can't let that stop you.
Or you can self-publish.
Yes. Yeah. But you still are going to be rejected because 100,000 people aren't going to necessarily say yes to you. Yes, I've independently published my book, and I'll be there, so I don't. And people who have watched me know about it anyway. On the other hand, one can never talk enough about one's books. I have written an opinion column for the Auburn Journal for 25 years, and I've independently collected 105 of them. And
it must be a great feeling when you sell a book to someone and they stand there and they tell you how much they enjoy your work and they've read your columns. And it must be very satisfying.
Yes, it is very satisfying. Jack L., is it satisfying?
Yeah, I just had an incident last Saturday, actually. I was at a function, and I didn't know many people there, and I introduced myself to somebody, and they said, "You're Jack Parker. I just finished your book, Patagonian Adventure."
Wow.
And I said, well, how'd you like it? Fantastic. There's a lot of people around, so hey, you got some great advertising right there.
What'd you say?
Don't stop talking.
I have a microphone here.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Fun.
Yes, yes. And now, Meredith, you're hoping to do this again, and I'm just so envious and impressed by this idea of yours. And tell me how long your book is. How many pages?
It's about 450.
You told me that before, didn't you? Yeah. And it's a dense book, which means that you've put a lot of work into it. There's a lot of detail and it's clear that it's not a fly-by-night kind of thing. This is you're serious about encouraging people to explore.
I only included small businesses in here, locally owned, excuse me, locally owned family businesses, and I did a lot of eating when I was doing the bicycle. You have to eat a lot when you're biking, but I ate a lot. So there's lots of recommendations in there for places to eat along the way. Every couple miles, practically, it seems like sometimes there's a place to eat. I didn't get to stay at all the bed and breakfasts and whatnot, but I did stay at almost all of the campgrounds and a couple of the hotels.
Wow. Well, what a kick. That's amazing. I'm impressed. All right. Chery Anderson, Jack L. Parker, Meredith Cherry, thank you very much for participating in this. And I will see the three of you on Saturday, May 17th at the Auburn Library. If you're interested in learning more about the Gold Country Book Festival, log on to goldcountrybookfestival.com and join us. I'd love to see you there. Thank you for watching, and thank you for being wonderful guests.
Thanks for having me.
Yes.
Appreciate it.
Nice.
Good. And I'll see you again.